Okay, so I'm trying to come up with a tagline, right? So for my Film It Anyways series, I like it to be, because I was doing Film Yourself, but I feel like Film It Anyway has a lot more foreshadow and a lot more just, I feel like when I say film it anyway, it's like people always don't know what to film and they're like, I don't know what to film. It's like, that doesn't matter. Like, just film it anyway. So the BTS content with client, there's going to be two different types of formats, but I could interchange these also, right? So I could turn, this could be a before and then after. And then I could also turn this into carousels where it shows me and how to direct people, how to direct my clients. And then the series is Film It Anyway. So this is going to be with me in front of the camera. So me filming my personal stories. Okay, so it could be like, we're going to figure this out. So let's go practice. Pew, pew. Relatable meets unforgettable. So verdict, need to connect deeply in emotion. Let's go figure this out. Wants to stand out and build legacy lingo. Let's practice. Pew, pew. But the cheat code is, let's figure this out. But first, let's go practice. So each series, I'm like, film it anyway. Film it anyway. There's no like, so do I want to start each one? So we want to, let's practice. Or let's figure this out. Because I like, let's figure this out. So we're going to figure this out. Okay, so it could be like, film it anyway. Like, I don't, film it anyway. And remember why you like it. So film it anyway. So it could be that, right? Film it anyway. But the series, so okay, if it's my personal stories, everyone has like so they all have like a slogan, right? So it's like, film it anyway. We're going to figure this out. So let's go practice. Pew, pew. So film it anyway. So that could be the name of the series, or would I say it? So we're going to figure this out. So let's go practice. Pew, pew. So film it anyway. You don't always have to know exactly what you're going to get. You don't know. So film it anyway. I'm practicing my storytelling by filming my life situations, and we're going to figure this out. So let's go practice. Okay, that's cool. I like that. So it's like, film it anyway. Film it anyway. Wait, I'm practicing. No, okay, so how do I say shorten this summary of my objective of filming it anyway series. My purpose, the purpose is to build your story structure that screams, that resonates with brands that you want to get deals from. So I'm here to practice filming my life as a creator. So let's see. So that's the whole point, right? Is like, I am practicing building. So raw and real. Practice my story so brands can feel it. No. More. So I'm figuring out okay, I like that one. So film it anyway. I'm figuring out how to tell my story in a way that brands could see value in it, because ultimately I want to work for brands that I love. And we're going to figure that out by, practicing. So let's go. Pew, 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 pew. So I could have a slogan that I say every time. So my name is like, and then the other ones is going to be like, okay. So it has to be like, so film it anyway, because this is how you shape a story brands will want you to be part of. Branded, punch, relatable. I'm figuring out how to tell my story, so I'm filming messy daily. More of a second person feel like I'm talking to my audience. Okay. I wanted it to be short. Okay, yes, you're talking directly to your audience, letting them in. Here's a second person inviting. Okay, you're watching me practice. I'm filming my life. Okay. I'm filming my life to build a story that brands feel. So one day they'll want it. I'm not just filming to post, I'm filming to build. No, I'm figuring out how to turn my everyday into a story brands want to buy into. You're here for the reps. I like that. I like this. I'm figuring out. Okay, so film it anyway. I'm figuring out how to turn my everyday into a story brands want. So let's go practice. Pew, pew. So how long is that? Okay, let's practice that. Let's go. So film it anyway. I'm practicing. I'm figuring out how to turn my everyday into story brands want. So let's go practice. So let's practice. And okay, so let me write that down. So that could be it, right? So it's film it anyway. I'm figuring out how to turn my everyday into a story brands want. So I'm figuring out how to turn my everyday and make it brandable. So into a story brands want. So let's go practice. So let's practice. Pew, pew. Okay. So I'm figuring out how to turn my everyday into a story brands want. That's the whole point. Brands want. Story brands want. So let's go practice. Pew, pew. Okay. So let's see, how long is that? So film it anyway. I'm figuring out a way to turn my everyday into a story brands want. So let's go practice. Pew, pew. 7 seconds. Film it anyway. Let's turn our everyday into a story. So let's turn our everyday into a story that brands want. So let's go practice. So let's practice. Pew, pew. So film it anyway. So film it anyway. Let's turn our everyday into a story that brands want. Let's go. So let's go practice. Pew, pew. So let's. Said a lot. Okay. And film it anyway. Let's turn our everyday into a story that brands want. So let's go practice. Pew, pew. You know. Let's figure out how to turn. Okay, film it anyway. Let's figure out how to turn our everyday into a story. But first, let's practice. Okay. So I'm figuring out how to turn my everyday. Okay, so let's turn our everyday into a story. Let's go. Pew, pew. That brands want. Let's figure out how to turn our everyday into a story. Let's figure out how to turn our everyday into a story. But first, let's practice. Let's figure this out. We're gonna let's practice. Let's go figure this out. So, film it anyway. I'm learning. What are you doing? I'm practicing turning my everyday into a story. Why? So that brands can hire me. So let's go figure this out. Pew, pew. Okay. So what? So film it anyway. I'm learning how to fuck. I gotta make this. Okay, so the personal story, so it has to have, okay, film your world. You're watching me practice. I'm filming my life to build a story that brands feel. So one day they'll want it. So let's go practice. The point, so okay, so I could be like, okay, film it anyway. The point is to build a story that brands feel. So that one day they want it. So let's go do it. So what am I trying to say? Right? I'm trying to say, hey, so film it anyway. What am I doing? I'm practicing building my story that brands want. So let's go practice. So let's go figure this out. Pew, pew. Okay. So I am practicing filming I'm practicing turning my everyday into a story. So film it anyway. I'm practicing turning my everyday. I'm practicing. So I'm turning. Well, obviously I'm practicing, right? Do I have to tell them I'm practicing? So film it anyway. Let's turn our everyday into a story that brands want. So let's go figure this out. Pew pew. So let's practice turning our day. So let's practice turning our everyday into a story that brands want. Brands want. So, so let's figure this out. Figure this out. Pew, pew. Okay. So how does this sound? So film it anyway. Let's practice turning. Film it anyway. Let's practice turning our everyday into a story that brands want. So let's go do this. So let's go do this. But that's my thing. Let's figure this out. Let's do this. So let's do this. So let's figure this out. Pew pew. So if I do, so say for example, okay, so film it anyway. Let's practice turning our everyday into a story that brands want. So let's figure this out. Pew pew. All right, let's figure out how to turn our everyday into a story. Pew pew. Let's practice turning our everyday into a story that brands want. Pew pew. Let's go. Pew pew. Let's do this. Just do it. Let's do this. Let's go. Pew pew. Let's go. Pew pew. Let's go. Pew pew. Okay, that's cool. Okay, so let's see, how does this one sound? So film it anyway. Let's practice turning our everyday into a story that brands want. Let's go. Pew pew. So let's go. Let's do that. So let's practice. So that's telling them straight up. So my hook is going to be, so should I put that, so should the title just be film it anyway? And then it's like, and then my face would be saying, let's practice turning our everyday into a story that brands want. So let's go. Pew pew. Turning our everyday into a story brands want. So let's go. Pew, pew. That's my slogan. Okay, so let's practice turning our everyday into a story that brands want. So let's go. Pew, pew. Let's practice turning our everyday into a story that brands want. So let's go. Pew, pew. That's perfect. So let's practice. What are we doing? We're practicing. What are we practicing? Turning our everyday. Why? What's the reward? So brands want. So everyone wants that. Perfect. So took me maybe 30 minutes of going through creating a signature intro for my videos, because I feel like combing through a lot of the creators that I really enjoy, they all have a signature. And I want to be able to, follow a formula that works for them and build my page, because my Instagram got big with BTS content. And it was great. I still want to do BTS, but I want to do different types of formats. I think it's important to have different types of formats, because then you're attracting different markets and different creators, people etc. So one of them is going to be Film It Anyway series, which is going to have you follow me practice turning my everyday into a brandable story. And the other one is going to be the other one's going to be a BTS content. It's going to be similar, but it's going to be content with clients. So me learning how to direct and showing people how I direct and how I get the shot. So then that hits two different markets, and I could be able to just see where it goes. So spend time to really go on ChatGPT and ask questions that are particular to you. Create a slogan that you'll be using, and then it'll just scream you, and just start there. I mean, all of it is just literally filming it anyway and just starting. So I'm excited, and let's go. Pew pew. Actually, I just changed it. So instead of saying our everyday, I'm going to say, let's practice turning whatever into a story brands want. So let's go. Pew pew. It's because obviously it's just, I don't know. I think it makes it more, it sounds more like me. If I were to say, let's practice turning whatever into a story that brands want. Let's practice. So let's practice turning whatever, because it could be whatever, literally, whatever into a story brands want. So let's go. Pew pew. That's good. I think that makes it a little bit shorter. So let's see. Reset. Okay, and action. Let's practice turning whatever into a story brands want. So let's go. Pew pew. Yep. Perfect. Okay, so that's it. I just changed it because I realized as I was going to the restroom that this sounds more authentic to me instead of like our everyday. So you want it to sound like you, because the more that you resonate with it, the more your audience will. So let's go. Pew pew. Okay. So now that I came up with a opening hook that I will be using for my series, that is going to be like my signature, mark. Now I'm going to just Now I'm just going to organize exactly what it is that I want to do for my content. I haven't done this in probably the last 4 years of me creating content, and finally I'm just gonna follow the formula that a lot of these creators always talk about, right? So I'm creating 2 different series. I'm creating 2 different types of format that I'm organizing, right? So the series is going to be Film It Anyways. It's going to be talking about my personal stories as a creative that creates every day, films every day, and then reads about filming every day. And I'm going to be just, promoting or inspiring others to film whatever and turn it into a story that that could potentially get you brands, the more authentic and true you are to, whatever stuff that you use. And the other one's going to be similar, but I would be, I would be working with clients and people that I film. So now that I have this, right, and then it's going to be the carousels, right? So carousel, car, row, soul. Okay. So now I want to be able, okay. So now I want to be able to, let's see. So I'm going to go on this girl's page because she is really, really, like good at explaining what your content should entail. Like she got over 100,000 followers, and she took time. It's not it. She took time to really, right here. Okay. So completely, let's see. So now she has 315 1,000 followers. All right, so I'm going to spend time figuring this out, but let me just get more coffee.
Create what you wish existed in your own industry, not what everyone else is already doing. I don't care what my a visual hook could be a font, a color grading, a creative angle, something you wear, or even a sound. A visual hook could be a font. I've gained 60,000 followers in 30 days just by posting carousels. My carousels alone get this kind of rich. And here's exactly how I do it. First, make your first slide pop. Think about how it will look on the Explore and on the home feed. You want to use clean fonts, balanced spacing, then nail the written hook. Use curiosity-driven text, numbers, or dates to really grab attention. For example, my 3-step skincare routine for winter, or fashion trends to avoid in spring 2025. You can add text within the app to make this step even more simple. And finally, one idea per carousel. I found that it's best when each slide delivers one simple idea, so they swipe until the end without even realizing it. I've gained 60,000 followers in 30 days just by posting carousels. My carousels alone get this kind of rich. And here's exactly how I do it. First, make your first slide pop. Think about how it will look on the Explore and on the home feed. You want to use clean fonts, balanced spacing, then nail the written hook. Use curiosity-driven text, numbers, or dates to really grab attention. For example, my 3-step skincare routine for winter, or fashion trends to avoid in spring 2020.
Okay. And then each slide is one idea. Okay. So let's see.
Forget about hashtags and keywords. If you really want to grow on Instagram, this is way more important. Shares, right?
Yeah.
Well, stop using these hooks. It's not that they're bad, they're just overdone. 3 tips to take better pictures. You could film your videos like this, or even like this. The point is, varying the angles is a way. Stop deleting your reels. I know you do it. Post a reel, it flops, and you panic delete it, thinking it's a lost cause. But hear me out. This reel flopped when I first posted it. But if you hate the way your grid looks since Instagram removes the square crop, you're going to love this new feature. You can now resize your posts and covers.
Square
Just press
crop.
and hold the image, tap adjust print. I've muted everyone on Instagram, and here's what you should do. When I started, every time I've completely rebranded my... You don't realize it, but I've hooked you before I even said a word. This setup is not random. This lamp helps set up a warm... This is a visual hook. This a visual. My name is Jenny, and here's how my life flipped upside down real quick. I thought I had it all figured out.
So what is my why? So what is my why? I want to get brand deals. Brand deals. So I'm pivoting my content to be more brandable. So I wasn't getting brand deals, and I don't know why. I wasn't getting brand deals, so that's why I started to shift my content to more stories. So the problem, what's the problem? I was losing followers, and I wasn't getting brand deals. So I decided to dissect my content and try different things to attract clients that I want to work with. Okay, so the carousels are going to be so help, hack, heart. So it could be feelings, facts, funny, encourage, entertain, educate. Okay. So carousel could be encourage, entertain, educate, feelings, fun, facts, or help. Okay, so I like see what. Okay. So I have somewhat of an idea. You know, this is where you just want to start, and it could always change, but it's good to kind of write it down. And when you start to edit and start to film, at least you have an idea of where you're going. So today I'm going to work on BTS content with clients. I've been really scared to do this one because I felt like I dropped the ball. And there's no contrast in the story, so I'm just going to show like a before and after, and then just kind of show an ambiance of it. So I'm going to create carousels that's going to be towards encouragement, entertainment, and educate, feelings, facts, and funny or help, hacked, and heart. Okay, so let's see what I got. Pew pew.